You know, a lot of things influence us in life. I think probably one of the biggest influences of our actions and our being and our doing is, I don't know if you all agree with me, but I think it's fear. Do you agree, disagree? Fear makes us do a lot of things. You know, you fear putting on weight, so you lay off that drive-through, you know. You fear of dying of cancer, so you put down that cigarette. And you fear that, you know, your wife's going to leave you because you're an idiot. So you try not to be an idiot. Some of us are more successful at that than others. I want to tell you. I want to tell you, I read a story this week. It's kind of a funny story. Well, I think it's funny. Of course, I find a lot of stuff funny. Erlaine Andron is her name. Weird name. Erlaine Andron was driving down the street in L.A., of course, where else, and saw men running from a bank with weapons, with automatic weapons, screaming and hollering and waving them all around. And she was driving down when they were doing all this, and she got scared, fear. So, like she thought to protect herself from a stray bullet or something, she ducked down, not realizing that the car is still moving. So she ducked down in the car, and before you know it, bam! She slammed into the side of a building, skidded across the sidewalk, bam! Slammed into the side of another building before she came to a stop. Now, to her benefit, nobody was hurt. Fortunately, she was not hurt, nor did she hurt anybody else. But she took out 70% of the camera equipment and half the props they had put up to stage a bank robbery. Wow. It wasn't a real bank robbery. They were filming one of these NCIS things, and fear causes us to do a lot of things sometimes, doesn't it? We don't even think about it. It's almost instinctual, a reaction of you get afraid and you duck. You know, as a kid, we used to play that game where you take a ball and say, think fast. Bam! How many of us thought fast? Nobody. You got hit in the head. The apostles saw Jesus. They lived with him. They worked with him for 3 years. And then they saw him arrested. And they saw him crucified. And soon enough, then he was buried and they were dead. And you know what? They were afraid. These guys thought that they were next. Got to think about it. If you want to crush this Christian movement, which the Romans and the priests did, first you take out the leader, and then what do you got to do? Take out those 12 guys that have been hanging around. Well, Judas Iscariot already hung himself. He was dead. But we got 11 more. Let's hunt them down. Let's find them. And let's get rid of them. Be done with this once and forever. So even though they had reports of the resurrection on the first day of the week, which we call Easter Sunday, to them it would have been the first day of the week. Only the women saw him, if you remember. Only the ladies that went to the tomb saw him. The men did not. So when evening came, they hid out, they barred the doors, they shut the doors, they locked the windows, the whole 9 yards, because they were afraid. Regardless of the promise of Christ, regardless of the promise and provision and miracle and all of that stuff, these guys were afraid. Fear makes us do a lot of stuff. Even though they got news of the resurrection, the greatest event in human history, they decided, let's hide to save themselves. We're going to talk about how fear can influence what we do. And a lot of times, even when it's the right thing, in the presence of Jesus, we're afraid. Let's stand one more time. Now, I have to have